197. Let's get to the second in the Garfield franchise, which is Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties, which came out in 2006. Directed by Tim Hill. Stars Bill Murray once again as Garfield, Breckin Meyer, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Billy Connolly, Roger Reese, and a few others. And the synopsis is John and Garfield visit the United Kingdom, where a case of mistaken cat identity finds Garfield ruling over a castle. His reign is soon jeopardized by the nefarious Lord Dargis, who has designs on the estate. Kind of an odd synopsis there. Well, I had never seen this before. Until I was thinking about doing this as a show, I didn't even know this one existed, to be real. I thought there was just the one movie, the first Garfield movie, and then that was it. But didn't know much about it at all. No idea of the plot, nothing. How people thought about it just went in pretty blank. And I think it's about on par with the first one. They're both maybe do a few things better than the other, but for the most part, the biggest problem is the plot. Even though I don't mind them going to like the UK and there's more of an adventure there and different scenery, it's just so boring after a while. Like, I don't want to sound like a, beat a dead horse here, but really it's like I like the little setup where they say, hey, they're following that very 90s, 2000s trope where someone says, oh, hey, I just got a job or I get to host this event or ceremony and it's in the UK or it's in France or wherever else. And then they have this very easy excuse to change the location and they do all the normal touristy stuff. But even though it did come out when all this was, I guess, the fad, it still follows revisiting it after all this time. It really does the same predictable stuff where Americans go to London, they mess with the English royal guards who can't do anything. They go to the Tower of London, they see Big Ben. Like, it's just the most boring, uninspired stuff that we, especially now, but probably even at the time, we've seen a million times before and done much more in a much more clever way, more funny way, more creative. And I feel like this style, as I was talking about with the animation of the real life animals in the first one, I'm so glad that this kind of travel trope is not totally gone, but it's kind of dying off a lot of the time. So I'm happy about that because it's really uninteresting. And there's the very classic villain played by Billy Connolly, who can do a wide variety of roles. I love him in everything, but he can be a very fun, mischievous villain, and he is in this for sure. It's just that the writing for him and really everybody is very, very shallow, surface level, just hero character versus the bad guy who wants to take him down for some ridiculous reason. That's basically it. So I really was kind of on autopilot through a lot of this thing. Bill Murray was, as always, the only thing that kept me going. Animation wise for him and for his twin, I think is pretty decent still. Not amazing, but good enough for the time. And even though it's very, very everyday routine kind of comedy where Garfield gets to go and be in royalty or he's treated like royalty, and then the royalty cat prince has to go eat lasagna and all this very quote unquote unclassy stuff. So that's okay. I think the two leads, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Breckin Meyer, are all right. I'm glad that they did bring those back, and Bill Murray as well, for the sequel as opposed to just recasting it, which oftentimes happens. And it passes the time, but it's so sluggish. I just feel like it has the Garfield personality of just, like it just takes forever for really things to get going. There were just long stretches where I was just like, oh, please. And it's only like 70 minutes too. So yeah, not much else to say about it. It's okay, but very forgettable. That one is a light 2.5 out of 5. So their first one and the second one are about at the same level for me.